Hey, my friends, welcome back to another Coffee and a Card with Barb. I have a fun card sketch I'm going to show you. It is my new favorite way to use up some of that pretty designer series paper that I have been hoarding. And I really like this card sketch. It works for any occasion, any paper. I really hope you're going to like it. I have the camera up high because I'm going to be using my paper trimmer and I want you to be able to see where I'm cutting, but make sure that you grab the tutorial because I have all the cutting measurements and it's so simple, guys. You're going to be really surprised at how simple this card is. So if you are on my Facebook page, you know that I just did a card sketch with soft sea foam, pool party, and darned if I can remember what the third color was. Oh, Lost Lagoon. How could I forget? And a lot of people commented that they don't use a lot of soft sea foam. And I wanted to share this today because this is kind of like pool party, which is one of our most versatile colors. Soft sea foam is too. It works with a lot of different colors. Then what I'm using is some bubble bath. How pretty is that? Nice and soft and pastel. But what really is going to make this card is the Traditions of Christmas designer paper. Unfortunately, this paper is on back order right now, but it should be in soon. And I didn't want to change it because I love this card so much. So we're just going to go with it. And hopefully you have some. But if you don't, it will be back in stock soon. So what I've done, I have my little goober here, is I've started with a 3/4 inch strip of the same paper that I'm using on the front. And I'm just going to add it to my paper here, to my basic white cardstock, and line it up. There we go. And then that is going to go on the inside of my soft seafoam card base. And I know that I have this up really high, guys, but again, the reason I do my camera, I have up high, is because I want you to be able to see the paper trimmer when I do that. So just bear with me. Hopefully you can still see what I'm doing. All right, let's get that glued on. Isn't this paper gorgeous? I'm going to hold this up because I want you to see. I'm kind of getting it in shadows. But can you guys see the gold foiling on this paper? It is absolutely stunning. Now, this is a card sketch I really, really like when I have pretty designer paper that I don't want to cut into. And it's a good way to use up your paper because this is 3 3/4 by 5. So you'll get 6 cards from one 12 by 12 sheet of designer series paper. So it's 3 3/4 by 5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer. Okay. And the first cut that I'm going to make is I'm going to make it on the 3 3/4 inch side. And I'm going to cut it at 2.5. So let me get it in my paper trimmer. And I'm going to cut it at 2.5, and that is going to leave me a 2.5 inch piece wide and a 1 1/4 inch piece wide. And then I'm going to take this piece. Sorry, I still am coughing. And I'm going to cut this at 2 3/4. So I'm cutting at 2 3/4, which will leave me these 2 pieces. Okay. So I'm going to set those aside here. And I'm going to put them here because I want to keep them in the order that I cut them. And the reason why I want to do that is so that they will match up. See? So that's why I'm going to do that. Now, this is the 1 1/4 inch strip. And this is really easy to cut because I'm going to cut it at 2, which will leave us a 2 inch piece and a 3 inch piece. I'm just going to put that here. And I'm going to move that out of the way. And now I can bring my camera down a little bit if we need to. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to glue these pieces of paper, which I've kept in the right order, and I'm going to glue them onto a 4 and a 5 1/4 piece of bubble bath. Okay, so I'm going to start with the bottom pieces because it will just be easier for me. And I'm going to give you a little hint. Now, I can't do this live because I don't have enough time. But if I was doing this where I had more time, what I would do is I would let this sit for about 2 minutes so that the glue becomes tacky. I can't give you an exact time because it depends on what the weather's like. If it's really hot outside, it's only going to take like under a minute. But if it's humid, like it is here today, we're probably going to get some rain, then it's going to take more like 2 minutes. Okay. Because then what will happen is this will become tacky. Now, I can still move this around, but the tacky would give me even more opportunity. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that I've got it on straight, which we all know is an issue for me, with equal borders around the side and the bottom. And then I'm going to put this on and line up the bottom. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue on these 2 pieces. Once you do this a couple of times, guys, it gets really easy. But what I love about this card sketch is there are other card sketches that do this with paper, but they have like weird measurements, like 1 7/8. And I don't do well with that. So make sure that my paper that I cut is going where I want it. So this is just a really easy cut, and you can do a lot of cutting in a lot of time. I think I have this backwards. Yes, this goes here. And then I'll line it at the top and on the sides so that everything is all lined up, even if it's not where it should be. This should have been over. Let me see if I can move this over just a little bit. It's probably, I don't want to rip it. Yeah, and I'm going to rip it. So let me just put more glue here. If you act quickly, you won't have this issue. Okay, and then what I like to do, and this is kind of weird, but what I like to do is I like to make sure that it's set and then take my bone folder and just press. You want to make sure that you're not moving the paper, so you got to be really careful, but then that will help everything lay flat. Now, I know it doesn't look like it in the camera, but this is real red. And so what I did is I took a piece of the bubble bath. I stamped the thank you, and it's on the instructions. Now the name of the stamp set is escaping me. I think it's Labels of Gratitude. And then I die cut it with the textured note dies. I love these dies. They give just that little bit of stitching. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this onto the soft sea foam. And you could see, I'm sure you could see even on camera, that my layers aren't perfect, but it doesn't really matter because your eye is going to go directly to that gorgeous designer series paper. And let me hold this up one more time so you can see the beautiful gold foiling on that paper. I mean, that's what makes this card. And I've already stamped and die cut this, obviously, and put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back. And then I am just going to put this on the card. And honestly, you can put this wherever you want on this card. You can use any die, any sentiment. This could have been a birthday card. This could obviously be a Christmas card, goes without saying. And I like it right here for this because it's very small. I use the smallest die in the textured notes dies. And there, my friends, we have the finished card. See, it doesn't get much quicker than that, but don't you think this card makes it look like you spent hours on this card? And the reason why it does is because of this beautiful paper. That's what makes it. So let me switch my camera over. Isn't this designer paper gorgeous? Let me get it up here so you can see it because I know you had to come in late. It's the gold foiling. And guys, let me tell you something about this card sketch. You get 2 sheets of 6 designs, which is 12 sheets of 12 by 12 designer paper, right? And every single paper in this pack is gorgeous, and you can use it on this card design. So basically you could get, and you would probably want to change the colors to something that's in all of the paper. So probably real red cherry cobbler would be your best bet. And then you would get 6 cards using this paper, 6 cards from each sheet. So 6 times 12 is 72 Christmas cards, and you could pop these out in a hurry. So yeah, Lisa, you made my day. Yes, exactly right, Patty. You could get 72 cards. Now, guys, that's 1 package of cardstock, probably 2 if you want the bottom layer, but you could certainly do white. You would have enough to also do the inside of the card, especially if you do it along the bottom instead of the side, because you get even more paper out. Just have to be careful how you cut it. And then 1 package of designer paper. It doesn't get much easier than that, right? So if you're watching the replay, don't forget to ask for the tutorial. I even have a little cutting guide in there for you so that it will be real easy for you to make these cards. The cuts are so simple, which is why I love this particular card design. So that's it for this week. Thank you guys for joining me. And I'll be back on Sunday with a Step It Up stamping. And then I'll be back next Wednesday with another coffee and a card with Barb. And I think it might even be a technique next week. We'll see. I haven't decided what we're going to do. I'm not that far ahead this week. I'm a little behind. So there you go, my friends. See ya. Have a great creative week. And Janet, be safe at the beach. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.